Is this person problematic? Talking to oneself constantly. Suddenly, Lan Huiyu reached out to interrupt. And at this moment, Qin Yan proudly taught. No need to look anymore. Participants present at the event, only I repaired 2 magical artifacts. I hope you won't default on your payments. Lan Huiyu was immediately taken aback, hastily went down to check. He not only repaired 2 items, he is working on the most difficult blue item. This was a failed piece from when I first started carving. The difficulty of the repair is extremely high. Of course not. Just, seeing Lan Huiyu stammering. At this moment, Qin Yan thought, this news is indeed not given lightly. At that moment, the Eastern Master of the Blue Star Palace approached and said, Qin Yan, you truly are extraordinary. I thought no one would hear the news today. Qin Yan, you have been to our Eastern Palace, but has not yet officially become a disciple of the Eastern Palace. So I still can't give you the news. I am the master of the Eastern Palace. Yulan and Shiyu have both practiced in my Eastern Palace. Then enter the Holy Palace. I promise you will be able to cultivate well in the East Palace. With your talent, surely a wealth of resources can be obtained. There's no time like the present. Today, in front of the major palace masters. How to formally pay respects? Qin Yan replied lightly. I mentioned it before. I want to challenge Xiao Yanlong, seize his position as the chief disciple. So, I want to enter the Western Palace. Hearing this, Zigongju smiled warmly. I welcome my confidant to the West Palace. Qin Yan, you can start the initiation ceremony now. Bow to the chief disciple. Kneel down for me again. Qin Yan stepped forward and said, as far as I know, the ritual is not like this. Please write a formal notice. Demonstrate with blood power. At this moment, the Western Palace Master replied, of course there is. Maybe it's not necessary for others. But for you, we must use this ritual, because you are a rare genius. This ritual is specifically designed for geniuses. In the beginning, Xiao Yanlong has also bowed and knelt before the former chief disciple. At this moment, Lan Huo and Xia Shen reminded. However, there is discrimination. If accepted, the treatment in the West Palace in the future is also very high. The initiation ceremony of the 4 palaces of Lanling, they are all different. At that moment, the West Palace Master and Xiao Yanlong exchanged a glance. He reached out and said, rituals and such. It can also be changed. Qin Yan, I see your unwavering spirit. Let's do it this way. You can perform another ritual, standing still in place. Resist the chief disciple's strike. There's no need to kneel to him anymore. You don't have to kneel to me. You can become a disciple of the Western Palace. However, the treatment might not be very good, just like the informal disciple you were at the Eastern Palace. You make the choice. Listen to me, Lan Fingjing urgently interrupted. Don't agree to him. Xiao Yanlong is of the 5 path mirrors. You stand still and take his strike. Will be seriously injured, even if it's the 5 mirrors. They won't easily accept this matter. Yet Xiao Yanlong stepped forward and mocked. Qin Yan, I thought you would accept it. I thought you had a lot of backbone. Hearing Qin Yan agree. Sai, you are right. I didn't plan to give up. Come on. Attacks can only target the upper body, cannot hit the head. How are you? Xiao Yanlong clenched his fist and said, no problem. I knew you had it in you. You enter the Western Palace through this ritual, only worthy of being a disciple of the Western Palace. Only those worthy can challenge me. At that moment, the Western Palace Master reminded them. Kinyan, quickly take off your upper clothes. Cannot use defensive spiritual energy. In the blink of an eye, Kinyan took off his jacket and turned to say, Lan Hue and the old senior came to mediate. Do not hit the head. Cannot attack with weapons. Can only hit the upper body. Only one strike allowed. If it is violated, Nanlin, senior, please stop. Lan Hue and Z silently nodded and hardened their resolve. At this moment, Zio Yanglong releases his aura and extends his finger. The onlookers exclaimed in astonishment. That is Xianxia Jai. No way. That is a top-level martial art of the earth rank. Zio Yanglong is truly ruthless. Even the most defensively strong martial arts competitors, they might all be frozen to the bone. Once unleashed, the force unleashed can penetrate through mountains. What should Kinyan do? Even if I pass. Kinyan's serious injury this time. It is very likely that Kinyan will not pass the 5-year assessment of the Western Palace. Those who do not meet the standards will be expelled. What should we do, brother Kinyan? Kinyan, it's better not to compare. At this moment, Zhuo Chuan also looked worried. Kinyan, you need to be careful. Xianxia Jai is not to be taken lightly. It is a powerful martial skill capable of defeating martial arts competitions. Look at the finger. Zio Yanglong shouted and charged forward. A loud slap landed right on Kinyan's chest. Suddenly, it sent Kinyan flying back. With a loud thud, I crashed into the wall behind me. What did this dark-skinned beauty hear? Surprisingly, she shyly pushed open the male lead's door with a flushed face. As Zio Yanglong continued to knock Kinyan against the wall. As the smoke and dust settled, Kinyan scoffed. I'd have long mastered the Xuan Huing Heart Sutra. Attacking the heart is useless. Zio Yanglong, your attack, it can only leave a scratch on my chest. Everyone was once again amazed. Kinyan is bare-chested, not wearing any clothes, but can withstand this terrifying blow. Xianxia Jai will not generate impact force, only able to create a hole in a person's body. Why was Kinyan not penetrated? Zio Yanglong can't really be no match for Kinyan, right? At this moment, Princess Sai whispered a question. Alon, what just happened? Don't you have any power? Such a great opportunity. You actually didn't handle it well. Zio Yanglong quietly replied as well. Princess, I have used my power. At that moment, Kinyan suddenly approached Princess Zai. Excuse me, am I now a disciple of Master Zai? Can you give me the news? Is that right? The scene shifts to show Kinyan and Xianxia. Looking at a box, he said, Elder Lan said, I am the only one to advance to the 4th round. So this 5th round of trials and rewards. They gave it all to me directly. If the lock on this treasure chest can be opened, then you can receive a reward. Tonight it won't open. I need to return the box. Xianxia looked and said, It seems you need to make a key. So light. It is probably an ancient script inside. Kinyan took out a key and said, This is simple. Due to time constraints. It was already prepared long ago. At the same time, as Lan Fengjin arrived at the door, only Kinyan's voice could be heard from inside the house. Teacher, look. This level is too easy. Simply given for free. Go ahead and try inserting it. It won't fit in. Kinyan, can you really do it? Lan Fengjin clearly misunderstood something. Blushing, I pushed open the door and closed my eyes. Kinyan, listen to me. Now is not the time to do this. When I saw the scene before me, an awkward silence fell over the group of more than 10 people. Lan Fengjin quickly cleared her throat and said, Listen to me. Still can't insert the key. The box cannot be that easy to open. It must be necessary to channel power into the key. Qin Yun looked at the key and said, "That makes sense. This key can't gather power without the spirit inscription." "That's right. It is necessary to engrave the power-gathering incantation on the key, to carve ancient texts and alchemical scripts. Then we can't use this material. Need to use bone glue." Listening to Xianxia's praise, "You truly live up to your name, Feng Jin." Feng Jin blushed and crawled back a bit. The scene shifts to the Blue Mystic Tower. At this moment, Lan Fengjin looked on and sighed. "I didn't expect the fourth round of the martial arts competition today. It all relates to the Lan Xuan Tower. As long as I can enter the fourth level, you can enter the final round. If only one person ascends to a higher floor, then you can directly receive this round's reward. The mentor's reward. It is still tears and jade princess leaves. Tears can enhance a person's beauty, restoring to the appearance of youth. Yuji leaves can make the skin fair and tender. This is a unique key to rejuvenate the elderly. None people use. Then living to 100 or 200 years old would not age. So many mentors have. At this moment, Miurong and Zai Wufeng helped Qin Yun put on a robe. Yang Xiu looked at the dark passage. "Qin Yun, you must win." Watching Qin Yun yawn, I thought to myself, "I'm so tired. Last night I opened the treasure chest, obtained the blueprint for a mystical sword, practiced the stellar spin again." Suddenly Yang Xiu slapped her and said, "Qin Yun, wake up and listen to me. This time there are 40 competing dancers. You must keep going." In the blink of an eye, Lan Hui introduced. "The Blue Mystic Tower has a total of 9 floors. Only the first to 8th floors are for trials. Each level is guarded by a group of puppets. Strength rivals the 5 bodies and 9 levels, and they are all made using Wanpin steel. Even with the Wanpin spiritual tool, it's not easy to hurt them either. Of course, weapons cannot be used during the trial. You can use armor. Each level has a varying number of puppets. Defeat the puppet master after entering. You must be able to climb the stairs to the next level. The competition lasts for 2 hours. Within 2 hours, who ascended to a higher floor, who is the first contestant dancer to achieve victory. The reward is 2 pieces of life-marking gold and jade." King Yan's eyes immediately sparkled with stars. "Good stuff." Suddenly startled, they thought, "Wait a moment. This rule." At that moment, a green-haired beauty suddenly approached and asked, "May I ask, has anyone teamed up with you? There are no group restrictions for this match. So many people. I am so scared. Can I follow you?" King Yun was astonished and thought to herself, I have seen this girl, but at that time I was wearing a veil." He suddenly searched and said, widening the distance, "Aunt, young lady, why do you want to team up with me? There are actually many more contestants. The male lead's luck is truly good, breaking through the tower with beautiful company." Just as King Yan rejected the beautiful woman, Jik and Lin walked over and joked, "Yo, isn't this kinking? No way. You actually want to team up with this kid?" Kinking quickly hid behind King Yan and said, "I don't like this person. He always speaks to me in a sarcastic tone, always wanting to tease me." King Yan thought to herself, "This girl must have been bullied by Jai Kailan before." Jika Lin exclaimed angrily, "Kinking, what are you pretending? I want King Yan to protect you. You really know how to choose. You might as well choose me." King Yan coldly said, "Stay away from her. They don't want to pay attention to you." At this moment, the blonde-haired man reminded them, All right. Do not dwell on unnecessary matters. It's time to enter the tower. Hearing Jai Kailan snort, she turned and left. As everyone entered the tower, at this moment King said, "Kingyan, thank you for earlier." Kingyan no longer spoke again. Polite, "Let's form a team together, so that Jai Kailan won't bother you again." At this moment the silence in the space scolded, "See, Kingyan, we really have to take the girl up the tower." Kingyan explained quietly as she walked, "Actually, it doesn't matter who I bring along. But since Jai Kailan cares so much about this person, maybe bringing her along could distract Jai Kailan. Don't worry, Momo, I have no thoughts about her at all. After all, my relationship with Yulan is no longer the same as before. I can't let her down." In the blink of an eye we arrived at the tower. People gathered together and talked. "What is it? Only 3 people can enter at a time. There are so many of us. When will it be our turn? Stop talking nonsense. Hurry up and go in first. There are 5 doors on the first floor." Kingyan casually took out a piece of cloth, in King's puzzled gaze, invited Dao to lie on the ground. "Come on, let's eat something delicious first," King asked in confusion. "Kingyan, aren't we going in?" Kingyan explained softly, "It's still early. Don't rush. Have you ever wondered how strong the puppet inside really is?" Tingba King was startled by the busy scene. "I understand, even if the puppet is strong. After many battles there will be damage. The later contestants, instead, it is more likely to gain benefits." Kingyan nodded in agreement. Moreover, the 9-story blue tower. Not many people have enough stamina to complete the entire challenge. So, some people would have survived inside. We'll temporarily withdraw. At that time, we can also ask these defeated people for information. It will be beneficial for us in the challenges ahead. Listen, King analyzed. If that's the case, this mact, if someone is walking ahead, whoever travels this path will face the greatest dangers. And the person at the front wants to win for sure. You also need to get rid of the person behind you. That's right. The easiest and most reliable way. We will set off again in an hour. Wait until they have fought it out before intervening. Is the best choice. In other words, the focus of this test is not on Kui Mei at all. Listening to Kingyan's analysis, King excitedly hugged him. "Kingyan, I find you very clever. So reliable." Seeing the clear clouds, Kingyan quickly dodged and said, "Actually, I'm not that smart either. Many people should have figured it out." An hour passed in the blink of an eye. Only Kingyan spoke. "All right, let's go." As the two entered, Kingyan looked at the puppets scattered all over the ground and said, "Sure enough, there must have been a fierce battle here." King also agreed. "I want. This puppet must have been very strong before it was shattered." This is a path of Kingyan. You see, just as I expected. We achieve it effortlessly. You can go directly to the 2nd floor. What Kingyan didn't notice was that a sly smile had flashed across King's lips. Suddenly, they shyly said, "From the past to the present, you have really helped me a lot. I have no way to repay you. Can only—" Saying that, he kissed her all over. Seeing King slowly open her eyes at that moment, her jaw dropped in astonishment. Kingyan looked at the puppet head and teased, "Do you like puppets so much? All right, I'll send you a few back." In the blink of an eye, the two arrived at the 3rd floor. The tower was completely empty. As the two arrived at the 4th floor, Kingyan sighed. As expected, we don't need to exert much effort on the first few floors. At that moment, a puppet shot a flame from its mouth. King casually deflected the blow and analyzed it. This was clearly resolved by someone using fire-based martial arts. In the end, I don't know what the situation is with the puppets in the other rooms on this floor. In the blink of an eye, the two arrived at the 5th floor. At this moment, King reminded, "It is estimated that starting from this level, it won't be that simple. Be careful. Those who can come here and not speak of puppets. Everyone is particularly strong." At that moment, someone suddenly screamed as they were thrown out. As the smoke and dust dispersed, suddenly 3 puppeteers appear in front of the group. "If we are going to fight, then let's fight." Upon seeing it, he immediately turned and ran away. "I can't do it any more. I give up." King looked at the analysis. "King, the material of this puppet is completely different from the previous one. It should be Wang Ping's ancient method." King reached out and said, "Hard hitting is definitely not an option. I am holding 2 male puppets. You move towards the staircase while striking. Can you do it?" After listening, King surely replied, "And I promise not to hold you back." Meanwhile, the puppet has already charged forward. Then King punched down with a loud smack, tied to the silver puppet's head. At the same time, the wooden puppet attacked her. King reached out to block it, grabbed the wooden puppet's arm. With a kick, she was sent flying out. At that moment, the silver puppet struck King with a powerful punch. Suddenly, she spat out a mouthful of watermelon juice. As King jumped away, King shouted while fiercely battling, "It hurts so much. How can this female puppet use such tricks?" At this moment, King thoughts were clear. "Although I want to help her, but I am also tightly entangled." Quickly reminded, "King, you try your best to run upward. Don't force it." "I understand," King said as she flew upwards. At that moment, the puppeteer reached out and grabbed her clothes. King kicked the puppet away in anger. "Oh dear, she pulled me back. So scary. Why do I feel like a female ghost?" Suddenly King shouted, "King, I'm all set here," King said when she took out the puppet. "Okay, then there's no problem." Saying this, he charged out riding the puppet. As King approached King's side, King opened her clothes and asked, "King, what is going on with you?" King shyly replied, "Pulled down by the female puppet." At that moment, King threw out the clothes and said, "Put it on me, the style of your clothes. It's very inconvenient without wearing an outer robe." The scene shifts as the two arrive on the 6th floor. King thought to herself, "It turns out it's just them left." At that moment, Kailan also saw them teasing. "Yo, King, you've changed your outfit. You really know how to choose a place to do things. This is during the competition. King, you really are impressive. Flirting with girls anytime, anywhere. Lion King like this." "Shut up." King angrily threw the dagger, and Jai Kailing easily dodged. Okay. I won't say anything more." At that moment, someone suddenly rushed out of the room and shouted, "Not possible. This is simply impossible to achieve. Even if someone sacrifices themselves, that won't work either. I want to give up." At that moment, the man with the dental plate stepped forward and asked, "Wait a moment. Weren't there 3 of you who went in?" The beautiful woman replied in terror, "This level, 3 people enter. Only 2 people can come out. One person must willingly sacrifice their chance to pass." While fending off puppet attacks, while manipulating the mechanism, they abandoned him and left. We had originally agreed on who would make the sacrifice, but the puppeteer was no match for the puppet's attack. Now trapped inside, we can only be released after the match ends. Listening to Da King Yun pondering thoughts. So after Jai Kailan and Huang Yukon arrived on this level, did not enter any door. They are waiting for someone to go and scout ahead. Huang Yukon quietly said to Jai Kailan, "Now there are only 4 of us left. The 4 doors in front have already worn out the people ahead. It seems that the difficulty level is beyond what we participants can handle. Either we 4 will duel, either trick this kid and Kinking into going in. So this is the final reward. There's no need to share with so many people." At that moment, Kinking gazed intensely at King Yun, looking at King Yun's glasses again. "We don't choose a door." He then spoke to the 2 of them. "Oh, once the time arrives. The 4 of us shared the rewards from the Bingheng Jingyu over the past 2 days, and they were quite good. Listen to Da King Yun's words. King Yun, you have to share the reward with us. It's not like you, why not take on a challenge? Maybe you and Kinking can read 2 pieces." King Yun pointed at herself disdainfully. "Do you think I'm a fool?" At this moment, Huang Yukon stepped forward and said, "HMPH, there's no need to pretend anymore. Now all 4 doors are difficult to pass through. I see you're not planning to challenge yourself anymore. Why don't the 4 of us settle this right here? Life and death are irrelevant." Da Kingyun replied seriously, "All right, life and death are irrelevant. You and I will go first. If I win, I will continue to face Kai Tai Ling. Then let's get started." Huang Yukon said as he reached out to take out a pearl. In an instant, it surged to life. Kinking noticed the cold and reminded everyone. Kingyun Huang Yukon holds the ancient totem legacy orb. That thing. This woman was actually an undercover agent. Taking advantage of the male lead being controlled, she launched a surprise attack from behind. The scene shifts to the 9th chamber. Lan Huiyu said angrily, "You little rascal, this is cheating. Huang Yukon violated the rules by using beads. Didn't you see it?" Others listened at the interchange. "There isn't any. It is allowed to compete in the tower. If you want to save King Yun, you can. Then he cannot advance to the next round. Do you think he would want you to save him? King Yun can't win. He can run by himself. You don't need to worry at all." The West Palace Master said nonchalantly, "He is a disciple of my Western Palace. I'm not worried at all. What are you worried about?" "Exactly. Totem text Ah. If our Blue Holy Palace were to master, we'll definitely become stronger. Then we can kill our way back to the Emperor, defeated our enemies." As King Yan occasionally let out screams, Lan Huiyu looked worried, and the West Palace Master looked on happily. "Ah, success is near. We will soon possess the totemic script." Watching inside the tower, King Yan had a pained expression, thinking, "Huang Yukon, I can't believe there is such a thing as a totem extraction text. It must be those few restless old men. I want my totem text again. Arm of the Celestial Master. Now it feels like being pierced by 1,000 needles." What to do? At that moment, Kinking suddenly swiped. He spoke on King Yun's back. "I'm sorry, King Yun. I have to do this. You actually." This left King Yun in disbelief. As Kinking pulled out the dagger, she said, "I'm sorry, King Yun. This is my task. I must obtain the totem." Meanwhile, Huang Yukon laughed mockingly. "Why stop acting? I see you are very happy under King Yun's protection. I haven't had enough of this play yet." At this moment, King Yun was trembling all over, lying on the ground. "I'm feeling a bit dizzy. The totem text is about to come out." Damn it! At that moment King Yan's arm shone brightly. The celestial master totem suddenly charged out to attack Huang Yukon. As Huang Yukon fell to the ground, the beads are shattered all over the ground. At this moment Jai Kailan looked on in astonishment, thinking. At this moment her golden sword martial soul actually left the screen by itself. King Yan stood up and looked, thinking to herself. It seems that the idea of martial souls having their own consciousness is true. The injury on my back has also disappeared. Huang Yukon, lying on the ground, looked up angrily. Damn King Yan. At this point, I'm going all out against you. With that he rushed up. Act according to one's abilities. King Yan spoke and then unleashed the giant god-killing technique. In an instant Huang Yukon was taken care of. At the same time Jai Kailan brushed it aside, laid an ambush behind King Yan. King Yan quickly dodged to the side. He kicked up with a swift motion. A sudden blow struck Jai Kailan's face. At this moment Lan Huiyu happily patted the table. This is Huang Yukon's own doing. Did you see that? Even the martial spirit has recognized King Yan. Take the initiative. Now, no one should think about taking advantage of him. At that moment, the long-bearded man stood up angrily and fought. I will go to win over King Yan. Lan Huiyu instantly took out 2 talismans and said coldly, King Yan did not violate any rules. If you dare to take him down, then just ask me about the axe I have in my hand. The man with the long beard immediately threatened. Do you know Huang Yukon is the blue holy boy? His death, the Grand Princess will definitely hold them accountable. Wait a moment. At this moment, Princess Sai interrupted. Huang Yukon was indeed at fault first, killed by King Yan's mental power. Huang Yukon cannot escape responsibility for this. Hearing Lan Huiyu echoing, that's right. From the remaining people in this match, it doesn't make sense for everyone to celebrate King Yan's victory. The authenticity of the competition will surely be questioned by other contestants. The situation escalated and Zai Gong had no way out. Princess Zai must be very clear about this in her heart. Watching inside the tower, Huang Yukon and Jai Kailan lie on the ground, one dead and one married. King Yan reminded while meditating, although I need to rest for a moment, but dealing with you is more than enough. King by the wall replied, don't worry. I will naturally withdraw from the competition. I'm sorry, King Yan. I deceived you. As for the reason, I don't want to explain any more. The male protagonist is forced to fight for his life. I always feel like this is a conspiracy. Hearing King King's words, King Yan replied, in fact, you don't need to explain anything to me. Since the turmoil on Kung Sing in the Blue Star Palace, the power struggle became chaotic and unbearable. I may not know what difficulties you are facing. Or is there another purpose for helping others do this? But let's leave it at that. I'll share the prize with you. Get stronger soon. Leave those who control you. This made King so moved that tears came to her eyes as she asked, King Yan, why aren't you angry? King Yan explained, if you intend to harm me, I would have been stabbed to death long ago. Isn't it? As for what the unavoidable reason is, I don't want to ask or know. That's it. Hearing Lan King's face turn red, a heart felt a sweet taste. King Yan, you are truly extraordinary. The next day arrived in the blink of an eye. King Yan woke up and stretched lazily. Suddenly, I discovered a set of valuable new clothes in front of me. There is a table full of delicious food. Just as King Yan was puzzled, Xianxia walked in and asked, why are you just getting up, King Yan? Is it done or not? I've prepared quite a few things for you. I also use sea salt water and jade chicken. It truly feels different now. You went back to rest early. So I didn't see the disappointed expression of Zhang Yu's ancestor. At first, he was confident that he would win. The banquet invites everyone to witness his return to youth. It's good that you stood up for me. Seeing Yang Xiu's happy face, King Yan helplessly thought, it turns out it's all for oneself. Yang Xiu threw the clothes to King Yan and asked, so you're not going to the competition anymore? After the abandonment of love, yesterday it was just you and Jai Kailan on the top floor. Only one final match remains. It's a pity not to fight. King Yun replied softly, I don't want to fight anymore. This season, Jai Lin only knows how to fight. I still want to work on my celestial master totem, no matter who wins this competition. It's not that interesting. King Yun, you must participate. Suddenly, Lan Fengjin walked in and said, I just heard some news. Yu Lan was in seclusion to break through. Suddenly became obsessed. The situation is critical. Need to stabilize the heart and refine the elixir. Only then can she be rescued. If Zio Yulen does not take it on time, perhaps she will become a useless person. Jai Kailan's grandfather. His name is Jai Xuanyi. He had a calming elixir in his hand. Strangely enough, after the incident with Yu Lan, he made it known. If you agree to the life and death battle and defeated Jai Kailan, he will hand over the calming heart elixir to you. King Yun walked out of the room and said coldly, then we have no choice but to fight back. In the blink of an eye, we arrived at the arena. Jai Kailan coldly snorted. You really came after all. King Yan replied disdainfully, you know very well why I came. At that moment, the referee spoke. To add a touch of suspense to this competition, we have specifically established a rule. You all step back to the edge of the competition arena. I place a suspended device in the middle. Both sides ran over as fast as they could. Who can snatch the hanging device? Only those who can use suspended weapons can fight in the competition. Those who cannot seize the suspended device. You can't use other weapons. Reward of the winner. It is a bottle of saline solution. This is after entering the realm of martial arts, something that can enhance the physical essence. It is the suspended medicinal liquid. This match, as agreed by both parties. Life and death are irrelevant. The Xianxia is the thunder sword. Lan Fengjin looked on in astonishment. That is within the holy palace. The third ranked suspended device. The crowd kept discussing endlessly. After Lei Hufa's death, his suspenders have been lying idle. Now take it out. Is it to choose a new master for the thunder sword? King Yan possesses the 5 souls of purple gold thunder fire. Jai Kailan is one of the 5 souls of the thunder rider. They are also disciples of the Blue Star Palace. Anyone can use this thunder blade. King Yan is a disciple of the Western Palace. Jai Kailan is a saint. Their status is too far apart. Jai Kailan is the one who truly deserves it. King Yan is still very young. He is a master of extraordinary tales. Strength overwhelms other older high-level anomaly masters, even if he cannot obtain the thunder sword. In the future, I will be able to forge mystical artifacts for myself. King Yan, I have no interest in the Zhenlei sword at all. As the referee signals, the timer begins. At this moment, King Yan thought. Listening speed. I can only use the star spiral step now. In the blink of an eye, the timer is up. Jai Kailan reached out and conjured a dragon's head. One grabbed the Zhenlei sword and brought it back. Oh no! King Yan was startled and secretly praised, looking again at Jai Kailan holding the thunder sword. With a swift slash, the sword cut through the air. King Yan shyly managed to evade, her heart racing with surprise. Is this the power of the Xianxia? Indeed remarkable. At this moment Jai Kailan smiled proudly. Ah, it really is a good thing. I want to see how you can defeat me. King Yan thought to herself while dodging. Try using the tsunami technique. As the sunny clouds descend, he instantly unleashed the 9 waves formation attack. How strong is the strike from behind the male protagonist? The whole building has disappeared. Seeing King Yan unleash the 9 dragon wave. At this moment, the onlookers exclaimed in shock. Tsunami mastery completion. This is the power of the ultimate mastery of Xianxia martial arts. King Yan is truly impressive. Even some martial artists at the martial realm. None can master the Xianxia martial arts to perfection. This martial arts talent is exceptionally high. There's really no one like that. Then Jai Kailan casually swung her sword, resolving the essence of the tsunami technique. King Yan, you are merely struggling in your last throes. Suddenly, Dong struck the ground with his sword, unleashing the Thunder Shadow sword technique. Countless sword energies suddenly surged towards King Yan. At that moment, Xianxia shouted anxiously, Thunder Shadow sword technique. Immediately start practicing martial arts. King Yan, be careful. At this moment, King Yan unleashed a shockwave to fend off a sword energy. It has become very difficult to stand out. As the lingering smoke dissipates, all I heard was Kailan's disdainful remark. HMPH. This is all you're capable of. The previous few rounds. You truly have amazing perseverance, with a strong fighting spirit. But, in the face of absolute power, you can only be completely defeated by me. Xiao Yulan has gone astray. Her husband's totem will soon belong to me. What a pair of star-crossed lovers! There are now 2 more useless people in this world. Ah! At this moment, King Yan gritted her teeth and thought, although I am seriously injured, but it's evident that she's expending a lot of energy. Suddenly a thought struck him, and he asked sharply, the story of Yulan going astray. Not many people know. It's even less likely to reach you over there, unless it was her accident. It is your doing. Listening to the powerful Kailan laugh, she was too careless. Let my people know the location of my retreat. Not dying is already pretty good. As soon as the words were spoken, Jai Kailan was startled. At this moment, King Yan's aura surged dramatically. The young wall has changed, and accompanied by a constant emergence of black gas. Instantly transformed. At this moment, Lan Fengjin looked on in astonishment. Not only has the wound healed, this outfit. What happened? A terrifying sense of oppression, because the momentum is too strong. Those with slightly lower cultivation felt severe discomfort. Jai Kailan looked on, completely baffled. What is going on again? This situation. At this moment, the onlookers were shocked and exclaimed at King Yan's appearance. Look at King Yan's appearance. What magical skill did King Yan cultivate? You lie down for me. Jai Kailan roared and charged forward with her sword raised. Looking again, King Yan stood in place and hugged. Suddenly, the entire ground began to shake. With a sudden strike, the sword's momentum was instantly neutralized. With a swift move, Jian Hong sent Jai Kailan flying away. Yana, stop it. Jake Shuing Yi shouted from below the stage. King Yan replied coldly, this is a life and death battle. It's not me who is dead. It's just that she's dead. At this moment, the audience looked on endlessly. King Yan must have practiced demonic skills. Her eyes are so terrifying. Oh my God! No wonder she is so strong. Xianxia listened in astonishment, thinking, oh no, A long time ago, many people suspected that King Yan was practicing demonic arts. Now, under everyone's gaze, she looks like this. At that moment, King Yan said coldly, "Jai Kailan, you are the one who wants to fight me to the death. I also didn't miss giving you a chance. It's your own fault for not cherishing it properly." At this moment, the injured Jai Kailan lay on the ground and conceded, "King Yan, I know I was wrong. Spare me this dog's life, please. Zhao Yulan's descent into madness was our doing. I'm sorry." Meanwhile, Jai Xuanyi in the audience continued to threaten, "King Yan, if you kill Elaine, you will not obtain the heart-calming elixir." But in my heart I was thinking, how could this happen? Our plans have all fallen through. Upon hearing this, King Yan extended her hand to gather energy, so arrogant, as the sky rumbled with a thunderous sound. King Yan unleashed a tsunami attack towards Jai Kailan. Suddenly, a huge beam of light shot out into the distance. Everywhere it passes, all things turn to dust. Suddenly, King Yan moved slightly and said, "Jai Xuanyi, I won. Hand over the heart-centered mysterious elixir." At this moment, everyone exclaimed in shock. King Yan actually destroyed the Lingwu Palace. King Yan's rampage is really terrifying. Their clothes are all torn. Jai Kailan was struck by King Yan's punch, turning to dust, gone without a trace. King Yan uses magical powers. Got rid of Jai Kailan. It's so terrifying. Jai Xuanyi will not let her go. She is skilled in demonic cultivation. Now no one can save her. Who wants to protect her? It's about the evil demon Wai Wu. Let us go past. At that moment, Zai Wufeng and the others walked over. Zhao Yanglong stepped forward to block the way. "Zai Wufeng, are you going to stop Elder Jai from slaying the evil spirit?" Zai Wufeng said coldly, "Move aside. I would give my life for King Yan. You are trying to stop me. Are you willing to bet your life?" This old man took advantage of the princess's departure, unexpectedly launched a sneak attack on the male lead. Truly shameless. At that moment, as Zai Wufeng confronted Zhao Yanglong, the Western princess walked over to join the camp. "Zai Wufeng and Nell, even if you risk your own life, can't save King Yan either. See the reality clearly. This is the Blue Star Palace. King Yan cannot escape." At this moment, Jai was furious and shouted, "King Yan, you cultivate in the Demon Palace. Can only accept judgment. Let's accompany a Ling in burial. This is the struggle of the Yang family in the music instrument industry, forcing me to use the heavenly gift martial soul. Don't blame me for being ruthless." As soon as he spoke, he unleashed his purple gold moon martial soul fiercely. "Xin, remember to step back for me. Otherwise, I will use my moon martial soul. I will give you a funeral. You are still the martial arts elite of the Blue Star Palace. Are they all blind?" King Yan just activated his second martial soul, the shock martial soul. Upon hearing this, everyone was astonished. "King Yan, unexpectedly, there are dual martial souls. Doesn't that mean he is cultivating the dual inner elixirs? No wonder his strength is always so mind-boggling. It turns out he is a dual martial soul person. Such warriors are very rare. Zhen Dong Wuhan. This is the legendary martial soul." At the start of the season, the mystery pointed towards King Yan, who argued cunningly, This is absolutely impossible. He was surrounded by a dark aura of inner strength. This is not a shock martial soul. Only by cultivating in the demon palace is it like this." At that moment, King Yan was also infuriated and questioned, "Are you going to kill me?" "Everyone stop it." The eldest princess Lan Chen rushed over and asked in confusion. It has been 1,000 years since the Lingwu Palace was seen. How it was destroyed. At that moment Jiaxuan went up to report. The Grand Princess asks you to take charge. This guy was sparring with my grandson at the altar. Because they lack skill. Just use the magic palace. Killed my grandson. King Yan immediately became angry and explained. I don't have it. He has a shallow understanding. Mistakenly thought I used the magic palace. If you don't believe it, can you check my heart? These two inner elixirs are both here. Celebrities do not make hints. I can withstand scrutiny. Please detect Grand Princess. As soon as the voice fell, Lan Chen swiftly descended in front of King Yan. She reached out and placed her hand on his chest to check. Interesting. He explained immediately. He is not wrong. He did not practice any evil arts. I've heard a bit about your situation. Jiaxuanyi, please take out the links in Xuanden and the things you tried. I will get to the bottom of this later. As Jiaxuan took out the elixir, she muttered softly, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. King Yan does not use the magic palace. How can we kill a Lang? At that moment, Lan Chen explained again. King Yan has not practiced in the demon palace. And he indeed possesses a legitimate martial soul. As we all know, purple gold level martial soul. In theory, it is the highest level. That is because it is above the purple gold martial soul. Stronger martial souls are rarely mentioned. That is the black martial soul. You must listen to this, several beautiful women exclaimed. Black soul spirit. I had heard related legends before. I never expected it to really exist. Moreover, it is a legendary martial soul. It's so terrifying. King Yan-Jij actually hit it so deeply. Jai Kailan's death was not in vain. At that moment, Lan Chen spoke again. King Yan, I originally only planned to take on one disciple. No wind. But now, I want to take you as my second disciple. If you take me as your master, you must follow my arrangements. Because your situation is quite special. You must strictly follow the training plan I have set for you, to prevent going astray. Without my permission, do not step out of the sacred palace. I am not trying to restrict your freedom, but it's about helping you steadily step into the martial arts world over the course of 10 years. How are you? As soon as the words were spoken, everyone became restless again. Oh dear, the Grand Princess has said so. King Yan-Jij is truly fortunate. It's really enviable. Suddenly, Xianxia leaned in and urged, King Yan, what are you thinking? Quickly agree. King Yan glanced at Xianxia and refused. I'm sorry, Your Highness. It's been too long. I can't wait. To quickly rescue the people around me. I must settle things with Xiao Yanglong as soon as possible. Otherwise, many people will get hurt because of this. He patted Lan Chen. King Yan said, You don't need to explain to me. I won't force it either. If you come to understand in the future, feel free to come find me anytime. This caught King Yan completely off guard. Then, Grand Princess. Suddenly, he exclaimed in shock. Grand Princess, Yu Lan is my wife. Her current situation is not very good. Can you help me save her first? Okay. I will now send the heart-calming elixir to her. Wish her a speedy recovery. Wait for me to return here. Lan Chen spoke and then left. Meanwhile, Jiaxuan quietly took out a sword, suddenly appeared behind King Yan and said immediately, King Yan, long life. But King Yan suddenly disappeared from her spot, suddenly appeared behind Jiaxuan. At the same time, he drew out the spirit essence blade. At this moment, Lan Chen, who was leaving since something was off, hurriedly returned to stop it. Qingyan, stop it. It turns out that she silently transformed into a stunning beauty. Do you still have a woman's charm? Just as the Grand Princess returned to intervene, Qingyan has already unleashed the 6 styles of wind slash. Suddenly, a loud explosion echoed from the arena. At this moment, Lan Chen, who rushed back, was unable to stop it in time. At that moment, Qingyan said coldly, "If others do not offend me, I am not a criminal. If someone wrongs me, I must be the criminal. I'm sorry, Your Highness. This is me." At the same time, the spirit blade shattered with a crackling sound. Qingyan opened her heart. After all, this is a relatively low-level spiritual energy, unable to bear such immense power. The interior has also been damaged. The scene shifts to the room. It also has a lot to do with your state of mind. However, Qingyan replied helplessly, "Wo, I want to hand you over to someone else, because I have to fight again. I might really die by then." Hearing this, Momo silently punched Qingyan in the face. "Brother Yan, you won't die." Suddenly she cried out in sorrow, "Even if you are going to die, I will be with you too. I only recognize you as my master." Tingba Qingyan gently comforted Momo. "Momo, you can rest assured. I will hand you over to a very good master. And she's a woman. Don't be so violent then." Irimba silently turned away in anger. "I can't do it. You promised not to give up on me. I don't want to leave you," Qingyan helplessly explained. Actually, the eldest princess noticed it too. "I still can't control the powerful martial soul and totem within me, challenging the carefree dragon in this state. Once I became obsessed, I will definitely go down with him." Upon hearing this, Momo assertively reached out and spoke. "Brother Yun, you can't die. Sister Yang's wedding should start in 2 or 3 days. In the past 2 or 3 days, I wish for the purification of your heavenly master totem. Maybe this will make you stronger. Even if you don't step into the martial arts world, it can also enhance some strength." Qingyan exclaimed excitedly. "Can it really be done?" Silently replied, "I'm not too sure either, because time is too tight. I can only use forbidden techniques. This consumes a lot. You may need 20 Warcraft gold bullets." In the blink of an eye, Qingyan was racing forward. He suddenly pushed open the door and shouted, "Sister Lan, help me get 20 World of Warcraft gold bullets right away. Only the Night of the Blazing Sun that I just obtained in exchange." She saw Lan Fengjian in her pajamas softly replying, "Eh, you don't need to give me the Night of the Sun's heat. I will help you." Qingyan glanced awkwardly and said, "Sorry, Sister Lan. Are you getting ready to take a break? I just prepared these." "Since that's the case, you can rest assured. I'll go find Grandpa to help you with it. But the premise is you have to give me that." Qingyan's eyes widened in surprise. However, Momo was silently furious and thought to herself, "At this time, you still have time to flirt with girls." Lan Fengjian extended her hand and said, "Give me salt water and yuji leaves." Qingyan heard this and spread her hands. "Gave it to Teacher Yang." This made Lan Fengjian extremely angry. Then he said helplessly, "Forget it. I will still help you. It feels like I owe you something." And Qingyan hurriedly ran away. Qingyan sat on the bed and said, "Let's get started." At this moment, Momo explained, "Only by stepping into the 5-mirror path can one purify the Xuantugu. But now you urgently need strength. I can only help you with mirror techniques." Qingyan Jej You will endure pain that most people cannot bear. As Momo began to operate, King Yun was sweating profusely from the pain, in the blink of an eye silently wielding the mirror technique, instantly transformed into a stunning beauty. At that moment King Yun looked on in astonishment, thinking to herself, "This, is this the true form of Momo as the high priest?" At this moment Momo quickly reminded, "Brother Yun, focus your mind." "Okay." At this moment Momo arrived in front of King Yun, suddenly pounced. Energy was transferred to King Yun through the mouth. At this moment King Yun looked at her arm. The angel totem has developed some new patterns. 2 days later, Momo was already exhausted to the point of collapse. King Yun slowly opened her eyes again. Suddenly, a dazzling light emitted from the right arm. With a slight movement of the arm, suddenly an invisible energy surged through the room. King Yun quickly covered her arm and exclaimed in surprise, "Angel Thunder Mirror! Martial arts within the power of angelic bloodline." Suddenly I looked at the scene inside the room. Not good. The Xuan totem pattern is even more powerful than imagined. If released, not only will it drain your inner strength, it might explode here as well. Just then, someone suddenly walked over. Suddenly, I saw Wu sitting by the table and speaking. "It's not me who said that. What happened to your room?" Before I could finish speaking, King Yan interrupted me. "I am sorry, but I can't assist with that. Let's not talk about that for now. Old Wu, how did you come here? What to do if someone wears a green hat at the wedding? Either you die or I live." Listening to King Yun's words, Wu picked up the cup and explained, "I said I would come to Xiao Yanglong's wedding banquet. I just arrived here yesterday, currently residing in Nishinamiya. People in the Western Palace are discussing you. They say you are making quite a splash over here. You have some skills, kid. Except to see you. I have one more thing to tell you. For me, this has nothing to do with me. But for you, it should be an important message. I couldn't sleep last night, so I went out and wandered around. The result was a happy accident. Passing by a secluded room in the Western Palace, I saw Xiao Yanlong carrying a big head, administering medication to a man in a coma. That man, it is indeed the long-lost head of the Yang family." "Listen," Qin Yun asked in surprise. "The Yang family master has always been elusive. How could he be in a coma? Misunderstanding the way back. I remember it was 7 or 8 years ago. The Yang family agreed to the engagement between Yang Shiyu and Xiao Yanglong. I also attended the engagement ceremony at that time. It was probably from that time onwards. Yang family head began to appear less frequently in public. Watching Qin Yunqi declare the entire path, I would like to ask you to help me investigate this matter, no matter how much is found. I will agree to one condition of yours. Can it be done?" The scene shifts to the wedding venue, as Xiao Yanglong and Yang Shiyu converse. "Wait a moment." Suddenly, Qin Yun rushed over to stop them. "Xiao Yanlong, I want to challenge you." Yang Shiyu looked worried and shouted, "Qin Yun, don't mess around." Xiao Yanglong said angrily, "Qin Yun, how dare you cause a scene at my wedding? All right, I will use your blood to add joy. I accept your challenge." At this moment, Yang Shiyu helplessly said, "Qin Yun, why bother?" The Yang family had already made plans. "Me too." Accepted. At that moment, the people present began to talk among themselves. What happened between Qin Yun and Yang Shiyu? Aren't they on the official career path? Their relationship is too good, isn't it? This challenge arose because of Yang Shiyu. Test, test, test. Xiao Yanlong was able to endure it too. You must listen to this." Xiao Yanglong suddenly grabbed Xianxia, creating a tense atmosphere. "But you are now my fiancé. Come here. Take her down. But I will make you wish you were never born." And Kinyan shouted, "I will definitely win. Don't worry about me." At that moment, Princess Tsai walked up and said, "What joy is there in just sparring? Let me add some excitement. The winner will be able to obtain the Western Duke's treasure, the blue robe. Must listen to this." Qin Yun gave a thumbs up in admiration. "What generosity! If it weren't to divert their attention, should I take out the treasure? That's enough." This mysterious artifact ultimately fell into Yang Long's hands, just a hand from the left to the right. At that moment, Xiao Yanglong and his colleague Qinyan shouted, "I'll add a little too." Xiao Yanglong took out the relic and said, "This is the imperial treasure of our Xianxia Empire. Ryukshuan, Ryukshuan." After the damage, the secrets of the higher-ups were revealed. Original level unknown. Compared to gathering the essence of the sun and moon, another way to accelerate growth. Qin Yun then took out the Yangian Night News and the Xuanqi blueprints. Everyone was immediately amazed. Crazy. Everyone has gone crazy. That's the good thing he got from participating in the competition. To hand it over willingly. What is Qin Yun's worth? The blue robe is the finest mystical garment of the Western Palace. You naive bunch. That is the sun and moon Xuan pill. At this moment, Murong is setting up the table. The deal is made, no turning back. Prince Chang'an challenges Prince Xianxia. 5-body 9-fold challenge of the 5 mirrors. Upon hearing this, everyone began placing their bets. Xiao Yanglong 2,000 gold coins. Xiao Yanglong will definitely win. How could the 5 bodies possibly compete against the 5 mirrors? I pressed Xiao Yanglong. At this moment, Murong was still shouting enthusiastically. Zibong's daily life includes good financial exchanges. You won't lose out if you buy it, and you won't be fooled. At this moment, on stage, Xiao Yanglong said with a smile, "I have a suggestion. We engage in a life and death battle. Victory leads to life. Lose and die. Do you dare? Life and death battle is just a life and death battle." Qin Yun replied fearlessly. As soon as the voice fell, Xiao Yanglong appeared. A loud shout shattered the moment. Everyone was immediately astonished again. Xiao Yanglong's martial soul is actually a heavenly bestowed martial soul. This is the Yang martial soul, which is on par with the Moon martial soul. Although it is only at the gold level, yet it's even rarer than the Moon martial soul. At this moment, Xiao Yanglong was slandering. "Qin Yun, do you have Xiao Yulan? Zhu Lion has a marriage contract with Shiyu. Hiding strength while pretending to be pitiful. Approach her under the guise of a master-student relationship. It's utterly devastating." This remark sparked yet another round of discussions. Qin Yun is really a scumbag. Yang Shi treats her so well. She actually harbored ill intentions. How could I have such thoughts about my own teacher? Unforgivable sin. No wonder Xiao Yanglong wants to fight her to the death. I see. At this moment, Qin Yun stood like a crane. "Shut up. Do not slander me and the teacher." The male lead was still injured on the ground a second ago, but in the next moment it was fully revived. The halo is full. Suddenly, Qin Yun burst into anger and snapped. "You think I don't know you married the teacher? It is to supplement the purple moon martial soul for wealth. Do you want to tarnish our reputation now? In the future, the teacher died. Just kill him. It can still be beautifully called cleaning up farmers." Dennett. With that, A martial technique was unleashed. At that moment, Xiao Yanglong lifted his leg and kicked out. Minor skills of a carver. I will let you taste the power of the heavenly way. As Qin Yun's attack was neutralized. Only then did Xiao Yanlong's attack become attacking towards Qin Yun. With a loud bang, the attack hit Qin Yun. At this moment, Qin Yun is holding his chest, already injured quite badly. The crowd watched the interchange. Looked. The power of the Tao completely overwhelmed Qin Yun's strength. This is the advantage of the heavenly gift martial soul. The power of the divine path bestowed by heaven. Qin Yun is definitely going to lose. How could he possibly win? At this moment, Xianxia looked on with concern. Qin Yun suffered this torment for my sake, but I can only watch from below. Can't do anything. As Qin Yun suddenly knelt to the ground with a thud, Xiao Yanglong provocatively said, "Qin Yun, you can rest assured. Xianxia will soon go down to join you. I want you to bear the stigma of immorality. Grind him to dust." This directly infuriated Qin Yun. But Xianxia shouted anxiously, "Qin Yun, stop hitting. I marry. I marry." The two maids quickly advised, "Miss, a ban was set for the competition. You can't get too close. Miss, it's dangerous. Go die." Suddenly, Xiao Yanglong shouted loudly. Then they attacked Qin Yun. Suddenly, there was a loud bang. Qin Yun caught this punch with one hand. In Xiao Yanlong's terrified gaze, suddenly, Qin Yun's aura surged dramatically. The energy expended and the injuries are gradually recovering. Suddenly, Qin Yun said coldly, "The power of your great way. I accepted it. Just right. Let's see how you solve my riddles." With that, he unleashed the Wind 660 attack. Xiao Yanglong quickly blocked it with his arms. Incredible thoughts. How could this happen? How could I possibly be suppressed? Roared angrily. I have already become a martial arts expert. Impossible. You must have practiced some dark arts. You are the one who practices the demonic arts. Beast. Qin Yun rushed forward while holding her. And so, the two of them began to fight fiercely. In the blink of an eye, as the two parted ways, Xiao Yanglong was filled with anger, thinking to himself, "No way to fight back. If this continues, it's all over. Stop it." Only one person stopped him. It's time to confront the truth. "Qin Yun, Xiao's father is in our hands." Princess Zai walked over and released Yang Yuanming. Yang Yuanming has relied on Longer's false reputation over the years. "Yang Shiyu, are you going to repay kindness with enmity?" The officials were astonished by this matter. "Yang Yuanming has been in seclusion for a long time, hasn't he? How is he soaking in the medicinal bath?" "I haven't heard of this before." Yang Shiyu pleaded again. "Qin Yun, I beg you. The story isn't finished yet." Wu Xiang walked over and threw out an object, saying, "He is deceiving you. Yang Minjuan was poisoned. Even the medicine contains trace amounts of toxins. That's why he has become this way. If you don't believe it, you can listen and see." These are all words from the Yang family. Only the sound of poetry flowed from Yang Shiyu's hands. "I intentionally poisoned Yang Yuanming. Yang Shiyu was sold to Xiao Yanglong to be the top, waiting for their grand wedding. I can rightfully take the position of the family head." Then Qin Yun took out a piece of jade pendant and said, "Zhang Hang is right. You marry teacher Yang. It truly is a conspiracy." Xiao Yanglong immediately felt a wave of frustration. "This jade belongs to Zhang Hang. The oil point of the Shaoran mountain range is also your point." At that moment, Princess Zai threatened Yang Yuanming by gripping his neck. "Now that it has come to this, Xianxia, you have to marry whether you want to or not. Qinyan, so what if you know all this? Yang Yuanming is in our hands. Yang Yuanming helplessly said at this moment. Dad doesn't want to burden you. As they spoke, they activated their inner realm. Severing one's own meridians leads to death. This broke Yang Shiyu's heart. Princess Zai was also startled. Years of planning were suddenly destroyed. There are many skilled individuals in the Blue Star Palace. Kill off everything that gets in the way. Make others hesitant to say anything as well. I originally wanted to give you a title. Since that's the case, just focus on being a good stove. With that, he struck out with a palm. With a loud slap, it hit Yang Shiyu. At this moment, Qin Yan and Lan Fengjin were both taken aback. Lan Fengjin hurriedly stepped forward to catch Yang Shiyu and checked. Oh no, Gao Dan and Wu Han were gravely injured. I'm afraid it will affect my whole life. Yet Zhao Yanglong looked on with great joy. Suddenly, a mouthful of watermelon juice sprayed out. It was Qin Yan who shot coldly at this moment. Zhao Yanglong, how dare you hurt the teacher? He immediately used the soul extraction technique on Zhao Yanglong. The Western princess was also taken aback, thinking to herself, this is soul extraction technique. The male protagonist has finally broken through to the fifth mirror. A casual grab turned this old man into dust. Princess Zai realized it was a soul extraction technique. Hastily pounding on the boundary, he shouted, Lan Huiyu, what does it mean to cast a barrier at this moment? Quickly withdraw the formation. Capture Qinyan. This is a magical skill. Yet Lan Huiyu continued to control the barrier's form. I won't give you any chance to interfere in this matter. Now, going back will only bring harm to Qinyan's ancestors. Qinyan, you devil! As Zhao Yanlong raged in anger, Qinyan completely absorbed Zhao Yanlong's martial soul. In an instant, the momentum surged. Thank you for your strength. The marks of destiny have already emerged. It's time to step into the five mirrors. As Qinyan breaks through, everyone around was influenced by the imposing aura. This airwave. Qinyan has broken through. Yeah, my husband finally broke through to the fifth mirror. Qinyan is so handsome. At this moment, Zhao Yanglong's aura is immense. You evil spirit! It actually devoured my martial soul to break through. Looking again, Qinyan gripped my fist and said coldly, I aim to devour more than just your martial soul. With that, another palm strike was unleashed. Shizhen Jianfeng's 6 styles launched an attack. In the terrified gaze of Princess Zai, directly turned Zhao Yanlong into dust. The onlookers were all stunned. Qin Yan can kill 5 mirror people with a single move. Qin Yan is too fierce. I've never seen someone like this. It's truly unbelievable. At this moment, Princess Zai was furious. Unexpectedly broke through the barrier and charged forward. Qin Yan, return my love and fate. As Qin Yan reached out, he grabbed it. Why don't you just come up with a solution? At that moment, Princess Zai showed no resistance at all, was shattered into pieces by Qin Yan from a distance. After finishing, Qin Yan hurriedly ran in front of Yang Shiyu, said anxiously, I'm sorry, teacher. I didn't protect you well. Yang Shiyu weakly reminded, Qin Yan, you should leave quickly. You've caused a huge disaster this time. Lan Fengjing also echoed, there's no time left. The elders will arrive soon. You used the soul refining technique. Also killed Zhao Yanlong and Princess Zigong. They definitely won't let you go. Hurry up. Next. Then Lan Huiyu walked over and said, This is the reward for the life and death battle. Silly boy, you should lay low for a while. Things here. You can trust me to handle it first. I have been in the Blue Star Palace for many years. It still has some influence. I will try to push this matter aside. After things calmed down, you come back again. Looking back, Qin Yunfei said, "Thank you. Please take good care of the teacher's injury. Please let me know on the side of Yu Lan as well." At that moment, Princess Lan and Princess Dong rushed over to hand over the task. "The Grand Princess has arrived. Kinyan Kinyan, the Grand Princess is the spirit martial mirror. Where do you think you can escape to?" At this moment, Mo quietly came out to remind them. "Kinyan Jij, run towards the Kuang Gate on the mountain peak. Although it's said there is something over there that can kill the spirit martial mirror, but now it only exists there. No one dares to chase after you." Hearing Kinyan helplessly flying towards the Kaiman. "Then go." At the bridgehead, the path naturally straightens. "Momo, if it's really as deadly as the rumors say, next we need to awaken all our spirits." Silently listened and replied, "Aha, the Grand Princess has arrived. I'll head back to prepare in the space." At that moment, the eldest princess chased after them, shouting, "Kinyan, don't run away yet." But Kinyan replied seriously, "Grand Princess, I killed the person. The martial soul is mine, but one must repay kindness. Debt must be repaid. I will not yield to this." This left the Grand Princess feeling helpless. "But listen to me first." As soon as the words were spoken, Kinyan had already rushed out swiftly. At this moment, the eldest princess sighed. This child, the eldest princess sighed. "I didn't plan to punish him. How can that guy run so fast? Soul refiners are extremely rare in the martial wilderness. It's not easy for us to have someone like this," but ran into the Kinyan Gate. At that moment, the male princess reached out. "Aren't you going to punish him?" The Grand Princess wanted to take Kinyan as her disciple last time. This time again, there are indeed biased matters. Hearing this, Zhuo Chuan retorted, "It takes decades for a soul master to emerge in the martial wilderness. They should be able to refine their martial souls. Strengthening power attracts much attention, but because the quantity is too scarce, not many people know. Kinyan is a curious tale master, who can also practice the soul refining technique. It's a rare occurrence in 1,000 years." The princess was not pleased at this moment. However, Kinyan killed the Western Palace princess. It is an indisputable fact. At this moment, the eldest princess spoke. "In recent years, although I spend most of my time in seclusion, there are quite a few offenses piled up on the desk, and the crimes of Zigong are numerous and serious. I want to help Zigong save face. I advise you to save your breath." Kinyan looked shy with his shirt off. "Momo, are you done yet?" But silently he leaned in front of Kinyan and said, "I will be faster. Just hold on for a moment." This beautiful woman came up. The male lead was knocked to the ground. "Could it be that you have some special hobbies?" At this moment Momo complained. "It's all your fault." Finally, after an unknown amount of time, it was resolved. At this moment Momo explained, "Just now, your body couldn't withstand the power of the 5 avenues. So the pain in the body will gradually become apparent. This formation is to help you recover. It is the superposition of multiple formations. Fortunately, you've awakened the angelic bloodline. Otherwise, the pain will come faster. Just stay here for now. Let's talk about it when the injury is healed." Then it became playful again. "If you're bored, how can it be? Qin Yun complained about having a cold. What a mess. Your brother, I'm going to die from the pain. An hour passed in the blink of an eye. Qin Yun hopped along happily. It really doesn't hurt. Looking at Momo, she seemed weak at this moment. This spell takes a lot out of me. I might need to sleep for a while. Go, brother Qin Yun. As he spoke, he entered the Jiayang divine soul and reminded, the formation and soul are just temporarily numbed. You need to leave quickly. Additionally, the second pearl of the Nine Sun Spirit. It's open now. You can take a look now. Hearing Qin Yun, he began to use his energy to investigate. In the blink of an eye, Qin Yun murmured to himself as he delved deeper. Such a complex diagram. Forget it. We can't waste time here. Let's go after all. As Qin Yun delves deeper, at this moment, looking around in astonishment. The feeling here is truly strange. What kind of place is this? Suddenly, he was taken aback. Momo, Momo, are you still awake? Say something. At that moment, a purple-haired beauty suddenly appeared behind Qin Yun and said, My name is not Momo. My name is Xingyu. Qin Yun quickly backed out, thinking to himself, this distance. It's too dangerous. But Xingyu leaned in and said, This is my territory. I advise you not to escape. I forgot to tell you, I am a curious tale. Strange tales of the star and moon. Upon hearing this, Qin Yun was momentarily stunned and felt a surge of anxiety. Soul, can souls transform into human forms? Looking at the stars and the moon reminded me. I can help you. As an exchange, I want your heart's blood. At this moment, Qin Yun completely lost the will to resist and was filled with shock. What is this power? My martial spirit and totem lay dormant before him, even hard to stand firm. Suddenly, fear asked, Why is it that you clearly have no corpse? But the power is so overwhelming. Xingyu leaned in and asked back, In the face of absolute power, is a corpse important? He said and then ripped Qin Yun's clothes open, reached out and sliced open the chest. The mouth naturally moved closer, as the stars and moon absorb. At this moment, Qin Yun looked at them in terror. Wait a moment. Could it be that those skulls on the ground, they all died this way? So the rumors are true. Even Lin Wujin will die here. But besides becoming weak, I don't feel like I'm dying. Not sure how much time has passed. Xingyu said with a satisfied expression, I have finally become a corpse. Seeing Qin Yun's face covered in cold sweat, he asked, Then it's time for me to leave. No, it's not over yet. Star and Moon started performing traditional opera again. This suddenly made Qin Yun exclaim, That's enough. Elder sister, I really don't want to die here. At this moment, the skull beside me. It also seemed to emit a mocking sound. Hey, kid, I saved a good spot for you. After a while, Qin Yun was lying on the ground. Only half a breath remains. At that moment, Xingyu said, You made it through. It's like passing my test. Passing the checkpoint, Qin Yun immediately sat up abruptly. Looking at the stars and moon, she reached out and released her bow technique. You have been granted permission to participate in the subsequent trials. As the stone wall occasionally emitted a rumbling sound, a pool of water appeared in front of the two people. Only the stars and moon spoke. After a few more levels, you'll be able to obtain the star-moon spirit pattern. Star-moon spirit patterns. This left Qin Yun completely baffled. Wait a moment. What is going on? What on earth does this strange trial mean? After listening, Xingyu asked in confusion. Over the years, countless people have died here for the star and moon spirit patterns. Aren't you here for this? Kinyan then explained. I'm mainly here to avoid things. But I don't understand why this vast place is solely for a spirit pattern. So strange. That's right. What is this place called? Just as Kinyan turned to ask. Suddenly, Kinyan was taken aback, and Xingyu pressed down on Kinyan with her palm, pushing him down. Under Kinyan's fierce pressure, with a splash, it fell into the water. Looking back at the stars and moon, I turned to leave. Kinyan, Juo Chuan mentioned you to me earlier. This is a test you must do. Welcome to the land of buried bones. What kind of confrontation would it be when Mema meets Xingyu? The male lead is also troubled. At this moment, Kinyan quickly swam towards the surface of the water, suddenly burst out of the water, gasping. Are you crazy? Suddenly looking at the stars. This, this is a sealed space. He trapped me. At that moment, the sound of Xingyu could be heard. The land of bone transformation will change your Vajra. Don't think about flying with a magic tool. You will sink deeper. Die faster. Hurry up and come out. Otherwise, you'll become a lump of beef. Kinyan's expression darkened, sensing the tense atmosphere. Thank you for your reminder. Suddenly thought to myself, the secret here must be more than just the star and moon souls. But the problem is, how do I prevent the liquid here from consuming me? Suddenly thought of a way. He took out the waterproof spirit talisman and happily. This small matter is no challenge for me. Suddenly water seeped in. Kinyan looked at the stars. But it won't be long before it catches up. The failure of the soul is only a matter of time. Suddenly Xingyu appeared and laughed. You can't be this capable, can you? This made Kinyan so angry that he shouted, I'll deal with you later. Then I calmed down and thought. The water-repellent soul can temporarily repel these liquids. What if I engrave souls onto my clothes? Saying this, he took out the carving knife. The carving began with a swish, swish, swish sound. As Xingyu looked at the comforting star signs, this kid has some skills. In the blink of an eye, Kinyan finished the carving. At this moment, Kinyan said to himself, think carefully. This inexplicable trial, if I'm not mistaken, it's the entrance exam for Kaiman Gate. Now we just need to overcome the obstacles. You can pass the trial of the Kaiman Gate, become a disciple of the Kiwen sect. Suddenly Xingyu approached and said, So you want to be a disciple of the Kaiman sect? No. Kinyan replied with great authority, I want to become the leader of the Kiwen sect. At that moment, Xingyu suddenly jolted in surprise. Momo came out yawning. Kinyan pouted and complained. I've been looking for you, but you weren't here. I knew you would be sleeping again. Meanwhile, Momo also noticed the atmosphere of Xingyu and asked, Brother Kinyan, who is this old lady? Kinyan smiled and reminded, SHH, she will hear it. Looking back at the stars and moon, he said, The talking fly. Interesting, interesting. As soon as the words fell, the two immediately clashed. At this moment, Kinyan quickly introduced everyone to each other. This is the star and moon soul of the Kaiman Gate. Name Xingyu. This is my magical spirit. Her name is Momo. Listening to Ba Momo's sentence. Kinyan, focus on dealing with your heartbreak. Stop chasing girls all the time. Kinyan Jij, I have recovered. I'll help you figure out where to go next. Get rid of this old lady. This really infuriated Xingyu. He reached out and said, First, I'll open the entrance to the next level for you. Just as Kinyan was entering, Momo made a funny face. Thank you for guiding me. Bipe, watching the shadows of the stars and moon gradually fade away. Suddenly, a figure appeared beside Kinyan and spoke. This level is called the Path of Star Shooting. It is a river controlled by the power of the stars. Eternally long labor. Momo immediately expressed her displeasure. I'll help Brother Kinyan see how to get through this. Please send this old lady back. As long as I'm here, it's enough. Xingyu, however, looked down disdainfully. With your strength, you can only explore a few hundred meters at most. You keep an eye on me. Momo began to check. He said casually, the path of the star shot requires the mind to reach a certain realm. If one's state of mind is not strong enough, they may get lost in the sea of their heart. Kinyan Jeet has the new sun scriptures. Just focus on the heart, love God from the Mo Nyans in Yang Jing. Did you see it? I am the one who supports Kinyan the most. At that moment, Kinyan hurriedly urged, let's get started quickly. As Kinyan delves deeper, Kinyan looked on in astonishment. I feel like I've seen these formations somewhere before. By the way, at that time on Yinan New Wind, I have seen such a grand formation. I'll try to break this formation first. As Xingyu watched, she thought to herself, over the years, no one can get through a breakup. Let's see if he has the ability. As Kinyan breaks through the formation, only the energy from the tree path converged towards the star moon, as the stars and moon absorbed everything. At this moment, Xingyu said, thank you for unraveling the formation. Help me take back the news. The official has gone through a breakup. This left Kinyan completely stunned. What? Didn't I just solve the situation? So easily. The story isn't finished yet. A door suddenly fell in front of Kinyan. At this moment, Kinyan was suddenly startled and thought, I really don't feel like doing anything. Did we really pass? Is it that I am too strong, or is this breakup too trivial? At that moment, Xingyu congratulated. Congratulations. Sanguan experiences heartbreak. Do you have the courage to become the master of the Wonder Gate, bearing the responsibility of a sect leader, inheritance of the wonders of the strange door tradition, and take care of me? These people actually dared to attack the male lead. The male lead gave a heartfelt embrace. Several people knelt down in the cave, unable to speak. Upon hearing Xingyu asking for support, Kinyan was suddenly startled. But heartbreak is tough. Isn't this just a matchmaking event? Then, looking at the stars and moon, she stepped forward gently and said, don't worry. It's beneficial for you. I have something good too. Do you want to? Kinyan grabbed Xingyu's wrist and said, just give what needs to be given. Don't get too close. Brothers, if you don't like, comment or follow the creator. They won't continue. Just as Kinyan turned to leave, suddenly Xingyu grabbed Kinyan's wrist and reminded him, the star and moon souls in the strange news gate are all forbidden tales. If you don't have certain conditions, don't start learning. Will be killed by the backlash of the strange news. These taboos and strange tales will also lead to certain conclusions. Lacking sufficient strength, recklessly using those forbidden strange tales, there will be a risk to life. What I want to give you is the legacy of the strange tales gate. Having it is the first step to learning the essence of the stars and moon. Okay, got it. Kinyan reached out his hand as he spoke. This left Xingyu feeling helpless, and she then said, it's right inside. Ordinary people cannot find her. You should really thank me. Suddenly, two people entered the room. Kinyan complained, isn't this place too shabby? Looking at the stars and moon, I crouched down and reached out to operate, not recognizing value. This is carved from a whole piece of She Mountain jade. Besides the two doors at the entrance, This is a place with absolutely no exits. There isn't even a crack. This is the inherited jade pendant. She usually hides in her mountain room. She's just like me, AI Zixu. As the sound of the painting fell, a jade pendant was seen. The bite sank into Kinyan's hand. This made her extremely hurt. In the blink of an eye, Kinyan looked at his fingers and spoke softly. "It hurts a lot from being bitten. I didn't feel anything at all." At this moment Xingyu looked and said, "It seems it still won't work. The Strange Tales door values strength above all. The sect leader's current strength is not enough to control us. Jade Pendant and the soul of the star and moon, please explore on your own. My strength has run out. See you next time." As they spoke, they slowly disappeared. It became a book of souls. It fell to the ground with a thud. At this moment, Qin Yun picked it up and looked at it with confusion. After all this time struggling. As a result, I feel my strength is insufficient. And silently, they acted out the drama on the side. I told you so. The wild women outside are unreliable. As Qin Yun descended the mountain, he pondered to himself, "I have been here for so long. I wonder how you Lan and the teacher are doing." Lord. Suddenly a voice came through. Xianxia rushed forward, embracing Qin Yan, excitedly shouting, "Your lordship, you really came out." Just when Qin Yan was puzzled. Only then did Dai Yao and Yao come running over. "It is the Lord, your Excellency," said Sister Lan. Upon hearing this, Qin Yan hurriedly broke free and asked, "What happened to Lan Jai?" At this moment, Don needed to explain. "My lord, you have been away for half a year. A sect called Xiling Xinggong descended from Wu Huang. Princess Xiling challenged Lan Chen to a drum battle. The winner can absorb the other's influence. Next, I want to continue. The Grand Princess lost. The Blue Star Palace undergoes a regime change. The entrance has been replaced with a sign just like that of the Xiling Star Palace. Now the Grand Princess has taken Zai Wufeng to the Yunyang mountain range. Granny Ziwen took a liking to Sister Lan. She wants to be a disciple. Sister Lan is unwilling. So he was tied in front of the gate of Xiling Star Palace. We will fight until Sister Lan surrenders." Lan Fengjin gritted her teeth in anger. "I have a master now. You won't get away with such a lowly tactic. Forced me to take him as my master." Looking again, a person is holding a whip, bending down. Lai Hidao took advantage of Lan Fengjin. "Isn't your master very impressive? Let him come out. I could kill you and he still wouldn't show up." "Stop it." King Yun hurried over to stop them. "I am the master of Lan Fengjin." Looking again at the clear clouds, a moment of fate is missing. I quickly saved Lan Fengjin. At that moment, King Yun hurried forward to hug her and comfort her. "Sister Lan, I'm late." "I'm sorry," Lan Fengjin said with relief. "I knew it. You will definitely come back. I'll help you with your treatment first." King Yan spoke as she reached out and pointed at Lan Fengjin's chest. As the treatment came to an end, only heard Lan Fengjin say, "I feel much better. At least I can stand firm." At that moment, King Yan turned her head and said coldly, "You need to kneel down and admit your mistakes to Sister Lan on your own. Then let me help you kneel down." Then several people rushed up and shouted, "King Yan, you are the demon who masters the soul evil arts. You're being way too arrogant. Don't think you can act so recklessly just because you have two soul guardians. What kind of arrogance is this?" Suddenly, King Yan transformed into a dark 5 spirits. Suddenly, he reached out and knocked several people away. This is what arrogance looks like. "Kneel down." As King Yan embraced he with a call, Suddenly, several people were taken aback. Then, with a thud, he fell to the ground on his knees, raging in anger for the sake of a beauty. Watch how the male lead saves the beautiful woman. The scene shifts to the cave of Kyoenmen. King Yan looked and said, teasing at the tree totem, "It is beneficial for treating your wounds." But in my heart I was thinking, compared to before, this time the healing effect of the tree totem is better. Is it because I have become the leader of the Kyoenjin? As the treatment came to an end, suddenly Lan Fengjin stood up and fell to the ground with a thud. At that moment King Yan asked in surprise, "What's wrong with you?" "Sister Lan." Lan Fengjin, lying on the ground, replied softly, "It's nothing. The body has just recovered. Feeling a bit weak. There's still a bit. Not sure how much time has passed." Only King Yan asked, "Sister Lan, how are you, Lan, and the teacher?" And Lan Fengjin felt a sweet happiness in her heart. It seems that King Yan has come out of the mystical tales gate. "Just go and save me," he explained immediately. "Yu Lan was taken away by the Xiling Star Palace early on. I heard that she and Z were personally instructed by Princess Xiling. Unemployment injuries are severe. The people of the Xiling Star Palace can heal her. However, the price is that she has to stay in the Xiling Star Palace. Don't worry about me either. Actually, the Purple Star Palace is quite nice. There are a few people who are jealous of me, deliberately trying to create difficulties for me. Grandpa left with the Grand Princess. I am someone who can't tolerate it again. In the end, it became just as you saw me." Hearing King Yan's helpless thoughts, "Oh, it's all because you're so cheeky." At that moment, Princess Dong approached excitedly and asked, "King Yan, I finally found you. Have you really become the leader of the Kyoen Gate?" Suddenly, I saw King Yan arrive at a place. He took out the jade pendant and said, "I got this thing. You all take a look. But I don't know if it's the heart of becoming the leader." Everyone looked and began to talk among themselves. "This is the jade of the 7 texts gate recorded in the Star Palace library. This can only be obtained by the Lord of the 7 Wenmen. No wonder Princess Xiling asked us to deliver the message. Is King Yan now the leader of Kyoenmen?" Then everyone clasped their fists and bowed in greeting. "Salute the sect leader." At that moment, King Yan put away the jade pendant and said, "Let's get down to business." Suddenly, Princess Dong stepped forward and said, "Taiman Master, Princess Xiling learned about the matter concerning Feng Jin. I'll take care of those people soon. She wants to invite you over. By the way, let's discuss other matters. But I'm afraid of neglecting you. Let us come and pick you up in person." The scene shifts to show everyone arriving at the Xiling Star Palace. King Yan looked on in confusion and asked, "Why are there so many people fighting in the Xiling Star Palace?" Princess Dong explained, "The arrival this time is from the Xiling Star Palace. Longquan's spirit sect, Fangling Men, the 4 spiritual energy sects of Pyoling Valley. Although they are all subordinate forces of the same Xuanji sect, but in order to, the 4 sects are going to compete in martial arts." At that moment, a beautiful woman was sent flying out. At this moment, Chu Yihui explained, "This is the life and death battle between the Longquan spirit sect and the Xiling Star Palace." And the giant man's voice laughed from the arena, "Ahaha, little girl, I won't just kill you like this. I have to have some fun with you first." King Yan immediately showed a displeased expression. "Could it be that the life and death battle is just a game of power?" Princess Dong hurriedly explained, "Recently, many problems have arisen. Take me to report to the Grand Princess." At that moment, The masked man reached out with his lewd hand, prepared to take the next action. King Yan looked at him coldly and said, "Waiting for you to finish the report. This woman's innocence is gone." Suddenly there was a loud bang. The barrier stone column used for the competition broke. King Yan approached with a dark expression. At this moment the beautiful women in the audience were chatting among themselves. "Who is this person? He's hitting it too hard, isn't he? Don't you know? He is King Yan. So handsome. At first glance, he is clearly a tough guy." At the same time, a few people jumped up, like he said, "Who are you? Daring to cause trouble at the martial arts tournament?" King Yan coldly said at this moment, as the elders overseeing the competition arena, watching this happen helplessly, not only did they not stop themselves, someone else has taken action, and now I have to come out and host the evidence. Do you really know your crime? I, the master of the Tranquil Heart and Gentle Breeze sect, will take you all today. Purging Liwei. At that moment, the defeated beauty hurriedly intervened. In an instant. Stop it now. The people of Lonquin Linzong are extremely vicious. Angered them. They will take revenge on you. Revenge. King Yan said this, and then stomped her foot on the ground. Suddenly, the ground echoed with thumping sounds. In the blink of an eye, King Yan took out a robe and said, "My robe is engraved with high-grade healing light patterns. Can help you recover faster. You go down first. I'll handle this." The masked man roared in the atmosphere. "Where did this brat come from? Mind your own business. Your existence has insulted Wu Dao." King Yan said this and rushed forward. This guy actually dared to attack the male lead. In the blink of an eye, defeated in a single move. Meanwhile, both of them rushed toward each other. At the moment of contact, King Yan swiftly dodged the opponent's attack. A hand suddenly pressed down on the masked man's face. He was knocked to the ground with a thud. At that moment, a few people shouted angrily, daringly, daring to interfere in a life and death battle. Those who harmed my Lonquin spirit sect. However, King Yan snorted coldly. You Dragon Spring spiritual sect really is amusing. The disciple committed such a beastly act on the competition stage. You won't stop it. Instead, they press hard against those who seek justice. How dare you chase after me? Little ghost, you seek death. The bearded man instantly unleashed the Lonquin technique, attacked towards the clear clouds. The one seeking death is you. King Yan reached out to block the attack. In the terrified gaze of the bearded man, he unleashed the power of the Heavenly Master and attacked. As the rumbling sound continued to echo, the bearded man fell to the ground, losing his fighting ability. At that moment, King Yan shouted domineeringly, "Listen carefully. My name is King Yan. I am the master of the Blue Star Palace's Strange Tales Gate. If you ever meet Yama, the king of hell, you may call me by my name. Tell him he doesn't need to thank me for helping him on his journey." The remaining two were shocked to hear this. He is King Yan, a genius with dual martial souls, dual paths, and dual totems. Meanwhile, a man in white said calmly, "You disrupted the martial arts competition agreed upon by our 4 sects. How will you take responsibility?" At that moment, a green-haired beauty rushed over and said, "My family's princess asked me to convey. If you have any complaints, please ask your sect leader to come find me. The seat will surely give them a satisfactory answer." King Yan glanced and thought to herself, "Who is this person?" At this moment, others shouted angrily, "They are from Zixing City. Please inform Princess Xi Ling. We will truthfully report this matter to the sect leader." At that moment, King Yan jumped down from the stage and asked the beautiful woman, "How are you?" The beautiful woman replied, I am no longer in serious trouble. Kaiman Master, I know you already have a wife. I don't mind 3 people. Can it be done? This sudden statement completely startled Kingyan. At this moment, the silent atmosphere in the space shouted, Brother Kingyan, quickly reject her. Another wild woman throws herself at me. Damn it. Zai looked at Kingyan and refused with a wave of her hand. I just got together with Yulan. Girl, have some self-respect. At that moment, the beautiful woman praised. Benefactor, I knew I wasn't wrong about you. You are indeed a man who values loyalty and righteousness. This will only make me like you more. I will always support you and Sister Yulan. Please consider adding a personal touch. Saying that, he leaned in for a kiss. Lan Fengjian felt a mix of emotions watching from the side. Kingyan is so resolute towards the moon and orchid. Why do I feel empty inside? At that moment, Princess Dong walked over and said, Kinmen Master, the princess is still waiting for you. The scene shifts to the Qingchen Pavilion in Xiling Xingu, as Kingyan entered the attic. Behind the red veil, Xiking City spoke. Qingchen Pavilion has never admitted strangers. I cannot make an appearance for certain reasons at the moment. Please forgive me, everyone. Please take your seats. At this moment, Kingyan sat down, looking at the person in front of her and thinking, aren't these the 3 people I defeated before? Thinking of this, they began to make faces at a few people. Time flies, and what matters most is the important task at hand. Then he spoke earnestly. Princess Xiling, Kingyan believes that the martial arts competition should have corresponding rules to restrain the actions of the warriors. After listening, Xiking City responded, I will consider this matter. Please rest assured, Master Qin. At that moment, Kingyan asked again, Princess, Kingyan has one more thing. Where are the moon orchid people? Suddenly, a horse-drawn carriage is seen racing forward. Kingyan in the car asked in confusion, Isn't Yulan in seclusion? How do we move forward slowly? Xiking City explained, Shi's injuries are somewhat different. Yulan is helping Shiu. The 2 are not in the new palace. Hearing this, Kingyan exclaimed in surprise, Is the teacher okay? Fu Qingchen comforted while pouring water. Not. I will do my best to help Shiyu. Don't worry. Yulan's breakthrough is imminent. Just need some time. I think Kinmen Master should care more about himself. Now you've gotten yourself into trouble. You killed the warrior of Longquan Linzong, ruined the martial arts tournament. The 3 doors were still closed. They will definitely come to trouble you. Hearing this, Kingyan scoffed. They want revenge. I anticipated this long ago. I am not afraid. Xiking City, however, did not think so. If things were that simple, it would be great. Do you know why I say the martial arts competition? Just wait for the future. Because the 4 of us are just leading the charge. In the future, more sects will come. Xiking City Martial Arts Tournament. Although the Xiling Star Palace has annexed the Lance Star Palace, the strength is still not strong enough. In the future, the story isn't finished yet. Suddenly, all the tables inside the carriage to the east were overturned. Kingyan lost her balance. With a slap, the face was pressed against Xiking City. The male lead will help Xiking City carve the spiritual patterns. Unexpectedly, the spiritual pattern was located on the chest. In an instant, my face flushed and my heart raced uncontrollably. At the moment, Kingyan accidentally stuck to Xiking City. Xiking Cheng tightly held onto Kingyan and kicked fiercely. It is a monster. Hold on tight. At this moment, Kingyan's entire body was floating in the air. Heartbroken, wanting to cry but having no tears. "That's not how you hold on, either. My neck hurts so much." At this moment the entire carriage was being grabbed by the demon beast and was flying in the air. King Yan, who was separated in the car, hurriedly explained, "Sorry, I lost my grip for a moment." At that moment a red-haired man was chanting a spell. The carriage suddenly burst open. At this moment Xianxia shouted out as it saw the people on the ground, "The three of you sects actually joined forces to attack me." "Good baby." The elder of Lonquin's spirit sect scoffed. "Xianxia, you think you are so esteemed and respected. We've been uncomfortable with you for a long time." Elder Pio Lingu nodded in agreement. "Today's martial arts competition, you clearly caused King Yan to create trouble on purpose. You just want to monopolize all the resources for yourself." At this moment Xianxia realized that what everyone was holding were actually the Wang Pingling couple. Suddenly Lang Wang said, "You really invested a lot to kill me. You thought you could win me like this? That's too naive." At that moment Elder Pio suddenly threw out a mirror. Upon seeing Xianxia, he was immediately taken aback. "Xuanjing, I can't move my body. You actually use these crooked and evil things." Listening to Elder Long's righteous words. "Ah, so what? Wait for me to use you to force Mu Lan to hand over the burial immortal map. We can move back to Wu Huang, and you can only stay in this resource-scarce hellhole. This life has come to an end." At that moment King Yan stepped forward and said, "I want what is on Yu Lan. You better consider whether you're worthy enough." Elder Fingling frowned in displeasure. "Who are you, little ghost? Dare to meddle in my affairs? I am your father, King Yan." King Yan spoke and took out a talisman. Shyly, it shot onto Elder Pio's forehead. As the poison talisman activates, Elder Pio instantly knelt on the ground, writhing in pain. At the same time, the Xuanjing fell to the ground with a crash, shattering into pieces. At this moment, Xianxia has lost control and is falling down. "Be careful." The remaining one swiftly caught him. At this moment, Xianxia shed its veil and revealed its beautiful visage. Xikan King Yan hurriedly pointed with her finger. "No." "Well." As the veil was lifted by the clear clouds. At this moment, Xianxia shyly said, "You're welcome." At this moment, King Yan turned her head and said, "You take a break first. I will go deal with them. It's suffocating in the car. Finally, I can move around a bit." "Hey!" Elder Feng immediately broke into a cold sweat and thought to himself, "The newcomer means no good." Elder Long teased, "It seems like you two have been in cahoots for a while. What nonsense are you talking about?" Xianxia shouted angrily and swung a whip. Elder Long dodged and continued to tease. Still angry and embarrassed. Just now Ba Cheng was also up to some secretive dealings in the carriage. "King Yan, compared to Zio Yuan, what is the taste of Xianxia?" "Shut up!" King Yan shouted angrily and threw out a talisman. Elder Long extended his hand.